Beijing's military observers expected Japan's railgun program to fail like America's did. The U.S. Navy spent billions before abandoning their electromagnetic launcher in 2021, defeated by rail erosion that destroyed accuracy after just 12 shots. China's defense analysts calculated Japan would hit the same wall, the fundamental physics problem of pushing massive electrical current through metal rails at hypervelocity speeds. Then came October 2023. The JS Asuka fired the first sea-based railgun shot, and Chinese satellites captured everything. The projectile maintained accuracy. The rails survived. Japan had achieved what 2 decades of American research couldn't: sustainable electromagnetic acceleration. The intelligence assessment from Beijing revealed their genuine concern. Japan's research on electromagnetic acceleration systems wasn't another failed experiment. It was operational. The Chinese response came 11 months later, during their September 2025 military parade, specifically timed to celebrate victory over Japan in World War II. They positioned the LY-1 laser alongside strategic nuclear weapons. The placement sent a message: China's directed energy weapon deserved equal status with ICBMs. But military analysts recognized this as reactive posturing. China's laser, despite its continuous fire capability, remained fundamentally defensive. Japan's railgun was inherently offensive, designed to punch through any defense at Mach 5. The real shock came from the technical data. Japan's specialized metal blend for the rails, developed by ATLA, survived 120 consecutive shots without degradation. The April 2025 trials showed the upgraded turret with integrated cooling loops, achieving that crucial 35% reduction in ablation. This single advancement transformed the strategic balance. China's laser might fire forever, but Japan's railgun could now fire long enough to matter in combat. 20 megajoules sounds abstract until you understand the impact. Picture a fully loaded semi-truck slamming into a target at 300 kilometers per hour, concentrated into a projectile the size of a shell. The railgun achieves this by accelerating its slug to 2,000 meters per second, fast enough to traverse the distance while you blink 60 times. The kinetic energy formula reveals why Japan chose raw physics over explosives. Mass times velocity squared equals devastation without chemical vulnerability. No warhead to detonate prematurely. No explosive magazine for enemy missiles to target. Just inert metal slugs that become weapons through pure acceleration. Each projectile costs between $25,000 and $50,000. Expensive until you compare it to the $3 million interceptor missiles it replaces. China's LY-1 operates on completely different physics. The National University of Defense Technology developed a clean gas cooling system that continuously removes waste heat, allowing indefinite firing. The beam travels at light speed, 300,000 kilometers per second versus the railgun's mere 2 kilometers per second. But speed isn't everything. The laser requires dwell time to burn through targets. Atmospheric conditions scatter the beam. Rain, fog, and smoke degrade its effectiveness. The fundamental trade-off becomes clear. Japan chose overwhelming force that works in any weather. China chose precision at light speed that depends on clear conditions. The railgun delivers its full 20 megajoules regardless of clouds or countermeasures. The laser's power diminishes with distance and atmospheric interference. When hypersonic missiles dive through storm clouds at Mach 7, which system maintains effectiveness? Naval architects delivered the devastating cost assessment. Retrofitting a railgun onto existing destroyers requires gutting and rebuilding the entire ship. The capacitor banks alone need space equivalent to 3 deck levels. The cooling infrastructure demands new piping throughout the hull. The power generation systems must produce output that current warships never anticipated. Japan faces an impossible choice: build entirely new destroyers designed around integrated power systems, each costing billions and taking years to construct, or attempt fleet-wide conversion that would sideline their navy for a decade. The math is brutal. Converting 1 destroyer costs nearly as much as building new. Converting 20 means essentially rebuilding the entire fleet while leaving Japan vulnerable during the transition. China's modular LY-1 system seems to avoid this trap, mounting on everything from trucks to ships. But the Type 071 deployment reveals the hidden cost. That amphibious assault ship required extensive internal modification to generate sufficient continuous power. The modular system still demands revolutionary electrical infrastructure that most vessels lack. The real bottleneck isn't the weapon, it's the platform. Both nations must transform their fleets from traditional propulsion to electric drive systems. Every ship becomes a floating power plant first, warships second. The infrastructure requirement explains why America abandoned its railgun program. Not because the physics didn't work, but because the integration cost would consume the entire defense budget. Washington and Tokyo divided the electromagnetic spectrum between them. While media attention focused on rivalry, the alliance quietly split development. Japan perfected kinetic hypervelocity. America pursued directed energy. The collaboration runs deeper than public statements suggest. Japan's Railgun integrates with the American Aegis combat system, standard across both navies. The U.S. Helios laser, deployed on destroyers, handles soft kill and drone defense. Japan's Railgun provides hard kill capability against hypersonic threats. Together they create layered defense that neither could achieve alone. The arrangement leverages each nation's strengths. Japanese material science solving ablation, American systems integration managing the combat network. This strategic division explains the deployment timeline. Japan will field railguns on select Aegis-equipped destroyers by 2027. The U.S. will proliferate Helios lasers across the fleet by 2026. Combined, the alliance creates overlapping defensive zones, railguns engaging at maximum range, lasers handling close-in saturation attacks. China must defeat both physics simultaneously. The classified coordination goes further. Intelligence sharing on Chinese hypersonic trajectories informs railgun targeting algorithms. American satellite tracking feeds Japanese fire control systems. The competition between railgun and laser obscures the reality. They're complementary systems in an integrated architecture designed to counter China's missile advantage. Who fires first in a railgun versus laser engagement? The question misses the point. These weapons won't duel each other. They'll target what the other defends. Japan's railgun will hunt Chinese hypersonic missiles and amphibious ships. China's laser will attempt to blind Japanese targeting sensors and intercept railgun slugs if it can track a Mach 5 projectile through atmospheric interference. The first combat use will likely come from neither side directly. North Korea's next missile test over Japan provides the perfect opportunity for defensive demonstration. A railgun interception would prove the technology while maintaining plausible legitimacy. China couldn't object without admitting their own laser serves offensive purposes. The escalation ladder favors whoever demonstrates capability first. Public weapon testing forces the opponent to reveal countermeasures. Japan's successful trials already pushed China to accelerate laser deployment. The next revelation, actual combat footage, triggers an entirely different response. Military planners know that first use, even defensive, reshapes every tactical assumption. By 2030, the Pacific will host 20 railgun-equipped Japanese destroyers and 40 Chinese vessels with directed energy weapons. But the decisive number isn't weapon count, it's power generation capacity. Each railgun requires 32 megawatts for sustained operation. Each laser needs 10 megawatts continuous output. The total electrical demand exceeds most nations' entire naval power production. The industrial race behind the weapons dwarfs the weapons themselves. Japan must build new shipyards capable of constructing integrated electric hulls. China needs reactor technology to power laser systems at sea. Both require rare earth elements for capacitors and magnets, resources China currently dominates. The supply chain becomes the strategic choke point. If you liked the video, please don't forget to like it, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. The real revolution isn't electromagnetic projectiles or directed energy beams. It's the complete transformation of naval warfare from chemical to electrical power. Every ship becomes a mobile power station. Every engagement depends on capacitor charge rates and cooling efficiency. The winner won't be determined by whose physics works better, but by who builds the electric infrastructure fastest. Japan's railgun and China's laser are just the visible edge of the deepest industrial transformation in naval history. The real revolution isn't electromagnetic projectiles or directed energy beams. It's the complete transformation of naval warfare from chemical to electrical power. Every ship becomes a mobile power station. Every engagement depends on capacitor charge rates and cooling efficiency. The winner won't be determined by whose physics works better, but by who builds the electric infrastructure fastest. Japan's railgun and China's laser are just the visible edge of the deepest industrial transformation in naval history.